So after this for loop, you will see another loop which will be very helpful in this C++ language. Have I shared my screen? Okay.
Sir, screen visible.
Yes, I will. Okay. So this if loop, you can say it will check some condition, not some, a particular condition, and compiler will go in a direction, again in a particular direction, depending on true or false only. In this if loop, you are not supposed to create iterations. You are just supposed to check some condition. Whether that condition is true, then it will the compiler will perform some different task, and if that condition is false, then compiler will perform some different task. The basic example of this if loop is, suppose you want to find whether a given number is even or not, even or odd. So you can simply write if a percentage 2 is equal to 0, then a is even, right? Now in this if loop, it will check whether this particular condition is true. If this condition is true, then it will go inside the body of this if loop, otherwise it will directly come outside the body of this if loop. And you can write else. If this condition is true, then do this, else write a is odd, right? So you can see basically what I am doing is I am checking whether this a percentage 2 percentage means I am finding remainder of this division. When I divide a, the content of variable a by 2, then what will be the remainder? If that remainder is 0, then I have to display a is even, else अगर ये condition false है, if this is true, then it will go to this. If this is false, if this condition is false, then it will go to this condition. If and else. if means कैसे लिखते हैं अगर, else means नहीं तो, right? So if this condition is true, अगर ये condition true है तो ये करेगा, नहीं तो ये करेगा. As simple as that. If loop is the simplest loop in all the three loops, for loop, while loop और if loop में सबसे simple है. But अगर कोई condition ऐसी है जिसमें okay, इस condition में आपकी there are two combinations, two possibilities, I will say there are two possibilities, but let's say there are three possibilities in any conditional statement. Then what I will do is I will write if a is less than 5, let's say, then write a is less than 5. Okay, just I want to write this thing. Else if a is equal to 5, then write a is equal to 5. लास्ट में अब 3 पॉसिबिलिटी है, a या तो 5 से कम हो सकता है, या 5 हो सकता है, या 5 से ज्यादा हो सकता है। लास्ट में आप लिख सकते हो else a is greater than a is greater than 5. Now you will see for this else, for this last possibility, I have not given any condition. For this last possibility, I have not given any condition. Right? So if there are 3 possibilities, if first में if आएगा, second में else if आएगा, third में फिर simple else आएगा. And for more than 3 possibilities also, you can directly write if this else if, else if, else if, and in last condition, in last possibility, you have to write plainly else. Okay. So with the help of this if else if loop, you can denote, you can make decisions in your compilation, and you can direct the compiler to go onto some specific part of your program. Right? I will give you some examples. Okay. I will give you some examples of this if loop. Okay, let's directly straight away go with this assignment. Okay, the first question, as I have told you, the first question is you have to take an integer as input from the user, and you have to check whether the entered number is even or odd. Similarly, for odd also, you can directly, okay, in a single program, you can see whether the given number is even or odd. Okay, we will make some program. Take a character as input from the user and check whether the character entered by you is vowel. Check for both uppercase and lowercase or not. You have to check whether that character you have been asked from the user, whether that character is vowel or not. Vowels are A, E, I, O, U. Okay, vowels are something like this. Okay, so इसको बना के देखते हैं एक बार इस प्रोग्राम को, किसी भी एक प्रोग्राम को. Okay, इसको भी पढ़ा रहने देते हैं. So I will give I will write enter number which you want to check, and I am entering this in n. Okay, now I will write my if loop. I will write if, in bracket I will write my condition, n percentage 2 is equal to 0, then okay, if this is equal, this is true, then C out. Okay, I will write in bracket, I will write C out. Okay, and the entered number is even, right? And I will else I will give statement C out n is odd. So in both of the loops, if loop and else part of this loop, I have written C out n is whether n can be even or n can be odd depending on this condition. If n percentage 2 is equal to 0. Okay, so let's see. Enter number which you want to check. I have entered 9. It has written n is odd. It has written n is odd. So of course, as soon as you have on line 12, it has checked the condition n percentage 2, which was false. So it directly came to else statement. Line 13, 14, 15, 16, it has skipped because the condition given in this if part of this loop was false. So it directly, the compiler directly came to line 17th. अगर ये नहीं है तो else ये वाली line compile कर दे. And in this single line it was C out statement n is odd, right? So you can play with this if Elseif loops. Okay, एक क्वेश्चन और कर लेते हैं जो बताया था अभी n is equal to 5 वाला एक एग्जांपल. If n is less than 5, if n is less than 5, then write C out n is less than. Okay, I want to say I want exactly 5. I will write n is less than required number, and my required number is 5. I want to say else if there should be a space between else if again in else if I have to write some conditions. Else if n equal to 5, then write C is entered number is 5. I will write entered number is fine. I just want to see if user enter a number 5, then I want to see whether it is entering 5 or not. Okay. Else if in last condition I will write else okay. Else C out n is greater than required number. Okay. So in this statement, in this program, you can see I just want to check whether the entered number is 5 or not. So if a user enter any number less than 5, it will, the first condition will be true, and it will say, the program will say no, n is less than the required number. I want to see whether the number entered by user is 5 or not. Else if n is equal to 5, then yes, n is 5. I want that number. But else if uh, otherwise, in last condition, what is the condition which is remaining? That n will be greater than 5. Else it will just print C out n is greater than the required number. So if I run this program, let's see, enter number which you want to check. So I will write like 9 again, and if I press, it will say 9 is greater than required number. So from this output, you have to understand this thing, that after, as soon as I press the enter after entering this number 9, this first on 7th line, this condition become false and less than 5. It directly, if this condition become false, it directly jumps to condition 11. Again it checked else if n is equal to 5. Again this condition is false. So it is directly jumping to third condition, third statement. Third, it will, the compiler will process anything which is written after this else. So if I run again this program and let's say I enter 3, so 3 is less than required number. So in this case you can see the condition of if statement, the condition of if statement becomes true. In the 7th line itself the condition become true and it has processed this 8th line. See out n is less than required number. And yes, you have to remember that in these if else if loops only one condition can be true. Only one condition can be true. Either it has to be, either if you are entering any condition, either it has to be true or it has to be false. Otherwise this compiler will get confused. Okay, so in this manner you can use this if else statement. Okay, and you can perform, you can simplify some examples, some problems. So let's say, okay, take a character as input from the user and check whether the character entered by user is vowel or not. So you can simply write a program something like this. Store that string, store that variable in a variable char. Let's say char a define किया है, c out किया है, enter the character, enter the character, c in किया है उसको a में. Then you are actually writing if a equal to a and a equal to e and single quotation for string, for for alphabets, for characters you have to write single quotation, and a equal to I and a equal to o and a equal to u. This whole condition, these whole conditions it will check. And if, okay, instead of and I think we should use or. If any of the condition is true, you can see if any of the condition, now this is this, in this bracket I am using the operators, okay, logic operators. If any of the condition is true, this whole expression will give me a positive sign, it will give me a true. If this is true, then print inside the bracket, print cout entered character is vowel. Else write cout entered character is consonant, is not vowel. Right? So can you do this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Even
Yes,
for
sir.
uppercase
Yes,
and
sir.
lowercase, you can make as long as your statement. With the help of these logic uh, statements, with the help of these and or statements, you can make it. Third question is, you are supposed to initialize the variable a, b and c by 7, 10 and 12. You have to make a program to find the largest number among the three and repeat the same process by taking three numbers as input from the user. Okay, so in this way you have to initialize the variable a, b, c with 7, 10, 2, and you have to find the largest number among the three. Which is largest number? You have to retrieve the largest number stored in these variables a, b and c. Okay, I will explain this. This is very good question. This will clarify your doubts, your understanding of this if loop. So what they are asking is, they are asking you have to initialize variables a, b and C with values 7, 10 and 2 with values 7, 10 and 2. Okay, 7, 10, 2. Right. Now you have to see by the help of this if logics, else if logics, you have to see which number is greatest. So the simplest thing is you can directly use, I have initialized these variables, you can directly use if A is greater than B and this A is greater than C, then you can directly write A is greatest. Else if B is greater than A and B is greater than C, you can write B is greatest. As simple as that. Else C is greatest. Right? Can you are you getting my point? You can just check whether this one number with this number A is greater than B and this number A is greater than C. If this is the condition, if this condition is true, then yes, A is the greatest number. A is greater than B, A is greater than C. Else if अगर ये सच नहीं है, अगर if this is not true, then we will check whether B is greater than A and B is also greater than C. Then in that case, yes, B will be the greatest. Otherwise, in last option, I will not check. I will not check C is greater than A or C is not greater than, C is greater than A and C is greater than B. I will not check that value. I will directly go to else C is greatest. Right. So should I make this program? Okay, I will write A is equal to क्या values था?
7.
7.
A is equal to 7.
10.
Why it is not working? Is equal to 7. B is equal to 10, I guess, and C is equal to 2.
2.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. B is equal to 2. So I will not write this. I will directly write if. Okay. Let's see. A is greater than B and A is greater than C. Then write A is greatest. Okay, I will write this. Else if B is greater than A and B is greater than C, then in that case B is greatest. Else I will directly write C is greatest. Yes, am I doing it? Am I doing it right? A is greater than B, A is greater than C, then A is greatest. Else if B is greater than A, B is greater than C, B is greatest. Else C is greatest. I think this is correct. So if I run this, it will say B is greatest. Okay. So from this, after performing this experiment, or you can say after making this program, what you have to do is you have to understand that the output which is being generated from which statement. This is actually very important for understanding these type of loops. Can you tell me this B is greatest is created with which conditions? With which part of loop?
Elseif, sir.
Else if. Very good. The compiler rejected this statement 7, 8, 9, rejected these lines because the condition of if was not true, and the condition for 11 lines else if was true. So yes, compiler compiled these line 12. This 12th line was compiled by the compiler because the else if statement was true. Right? These things you have to uh, uh, these things should be crystal clear in your mind. Otherwise you will be having a lot of problem in this language. Okay, next question is you have to write a program that determines okay, in third question itself you can, of course you can do the same process by taking the numbers as input from the user. You just have to, what you just have to do is, instead of initializing these variables, you can take input from the user and store that input into the variables a, b and c, right? Similarly, in question fourth, you have to take three, okay, write a program that determines a student's grade. The program should read marks for first year, second year and third year from the user. Then you have to calculate, the average percentage and determine the grade based on the following rules. Okay. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay. So in fourth question also, you can take marks of first year, second year and third year from the user in variable a, b, c, let's say, and then you can uh, define a variable percentage by taking the average of these marks a plus b plus c by 3. Okay, and then using this if loop you can generate the grades. If let's say percentage is greater than or equal to 90, then you have to display the grade a. Else if percentage is less than equal to 70 and greater than equal to 19, okay, ये गलत लिखा हुआ है, this you have to modify. Else your marks are greater than 70 and less than 89. Okay, this condition is actually false. Uh, this condition is wrong. Your marks has to be greater than 70 and less than 89, and hence your grade should be B. Similarly, your marks has to be greater than 50 and less than 69. Yes, third condition is okay. And if your condition is, if your percentage is less than 50, then you have to give the output as grade is, your grade is fail. So you can make this program also. Fifth question is, take a number as input from the user, divide the number by 3, check whether the remainder and dividend is even or odd. Okay, what you have to do is, you have to, okay, I will give you a hint of this question. Question number 5, you have to take a number from the user, you have to divide that by 3. Let's say, suppose if you take a number from the user which is n, you divide that number by 3, divide the number by 3, and you have to check the remainder, you have to check the remainder and dividend, you have to check the remainder and dividend. So let's say dividend, how I can make, how I can calculate the dividend, a variable dividend, I can write n by 3. Similarly, I can say remainder is equal to n percentage 3. So this expression will give you a dividend, and this value will be stored into this variable dividend. Similarly, this expression will calculate the remainder of n divided by 3, and this number will be stored in this variable remainder. Then after that, what you can do is, you have to check whether the remainder and dividend is even or odd. Then you can simply make a program. If this variable dividend percentage 2 is equal to 0, then write dividend is even, right? Else write dividend is odd. Okay, this if loop will generate the output whether your dividend is even or odd. Similarly, after this complete if loop, you can again start another if loop which will check remainder now, whether this remainder is even or odd. Remainder percentage 2 is equal to 0. You have to write remainder is even. Else you have to write remainder is odd. Right? So in this manner, you can create this program. You can simplify this program. You have to take a number n from the user, you have to divide it by 3, you have to store the dividend into a variable, you have to store a remainder into a variable, then you have to check dividend whether it is even or odd, and then separately you have to check the remainder whether it is even or odd. Okay, so question number 5 can be done easily. Question number 6 is, solve the following two expression after taking input from A and B. A and B has to be user defined. You have to define another variables, let's say C or D, or even expression 1 and 2, and you have to calculate the values of these expressions 1 and 2, AB plus A by B, using simple arithmetic operations. Now after solving this expression, print 1 if the result of both expression is even, and 0 if any of the expression is odd. Then in this condition you have to use if loop. Okay, so this first part of this program is quite easy. We have done this using arithmetic operations. You have to calculate the value of expression 1 and expression 2. But now in this part, after solving the expression, print 1 if the result of both expression is even. So for that, what I can do is, if I have to write a statement, I have to use a loop. If expression 1, okay, is even or odd. So first I have to check. Okay, I have to, if the result of both expression is even. Okay, okay. So what I have to do is I have to generate a output 1 if the result of both the expression is even. So what I can do is I can simply, if expression 1 percentage 2 is equal to 0, right? Then what it will do, it will um, assign the value to another variable, let's say x1, right? I will tell you the logic. Else x becomes 0. So basically what I am doing is I am creating a variable x whose value will become 1 if expression 1, the final value of expression 1 will become even. If the expression 1 value is even, then I will assign 1 to the x variable. Else if it is odd, okay, I will write if expression 1 is even, then assign 1 to x. Else if expression 1 variable is odd, then assign 0 to x variable. Similarly, I will also check for this. If expression 2 is even or odd. If this is even, then again a different variable y will become 1. Else y will become 0. Okay. So basically what I am doing is I am first calculating the values of expression 1 and expression 2. Then in different if loops, in separate if loops, I am checking whether this expression 1 is even or odd. If it is even, I am assigning a value 1 to a variable x. Similarly, if expression 2 is even, then I am assigning value 1 to variable y, right? So now I have different combinations of x and y now. X and y now. X can be 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, sorry, 0, 0, 1, 1. Sorry, 0, 1, 0, 0. Right? So in this way, you can see there are 4 different combinations. But we do not have to, I don't think we have to assure for all these 4. Okay, I have to print 1 if result of both the expressions is even. I have to print 1 if the result of both the expressions is even. So after this if loop, after these 2 if loops, what I will do is I will simply place another if loop. I will simply place another if loop in series after this if loop, which will check if x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 1. If x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 1, then cout 1. Else, according to my question, even and 0 if any of the expression is odd. Of course, ये तो होगा ही. अगर even नहीं होगा तो odd होगा, फिर उसके अलावा और कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है. तो इसका मतलब I can directly write else cout 0. right? So in this question, you are supposed to do that. You have to first calculate the values of expression 1 and 2. Then you have to check whether this expression 1 is even or not. If it is even, you have to assign some values, some particular value to a variable x, and if it is odd, you have to assign some different value to this variable x. Not necessarily you have to assign this value 1, you can also assign, let's say, 10, okay, and 5. This you have to understand. You can also assign value 10 and 5 to x and to variable x for particular condition if it is even or odd. Then okay, यहाँ पर भी लिख लेते हैं 10 और 5. But फिर after this you have to check whether if x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 10. Okay, because I am just checking whether this expression 1 was even or not, and whether this expression 2 was even or not. So it does not, please do not mix those values, those x values with this 1 and this 0. This 1 and 0 are different things. Okay, so you have to solve these type of questions. There can be a lot of questions on if loops. Okay, in last question you have to take the input for the coefficients a, b, c of quadratic equation from the user. You have to calculate b square minus 4ac. Use if else if statements to print what type of roots will be for the given set of coefficients. You don't have to till at this point, you do not have to calculate the roots, you just have to tell the nature of roots. Now for this question, very quite a simple question, you just have to take input of a, b and c of this type of quadratic equation, ax square plus bx plus c, right? You have to calculate d, okay, another variable d, which is equal to b square minus 4ac. Okay, now after this, if you can apply if loop, if d is greater than 0, then just you have to take c out. Roots are real and unequal, distinct. Okay, क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशंस के रूट्स पता है आपको कैसे निकालते हैं? नेचर ऑफ रूट्स कैसे बताते हैं क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशंस के रूट्स? If that d discriminant, if d is equal to b square minus 4ac, if this d is a positive number, then roots are real and distinct. Else if d is equal to 0, then see out, roots are equal and opposite. Okay, else roots are imaginary. Okay. So in this manner, you up to this point you are not supposed to find the roots, you just have to tell the nature of roots, which type of roots will be will evolve from the quadratic equation if you insert those particular values of a, b and c. But yes, these a, b, c values should be user defined. So these 7 questions I hope you can do. I have explained almost all the questions, and these are actually very quite easy questions for assignment 3. Okay, I will just want to see what she has uploaded for assignment 4. Okay, no, assignment 3 is final assignment till now, which is due on 12th January. So okay,